Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Bhakti Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jaya Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Bhakti Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki He Guru Charana Padma He Bala Bhakti Padma He Guru Charana Padma He Bala Bhakti Padma
He's sitting down already. Yeah, he's calling it already. They're bringing it now. They're bringing it now.
As soon as he comes in, then she should start singing. Or just start rolling.
I'm going to put the microphone on you and leave this icon from the side here.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much for attending. So we accept glorification and appreciation. We hesitate to use the word worship, but on behalf of being followers of Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada is the real pure devotee. So only because we are connected to him, and only because he is so kind and merciful, do we allow this nice ceremony, and it's to allow all of you to worship Srila Prabhupada through one of his lowly followers. Hare Krishna. So it's a foot bathing. Foot bathing. In India, the saints would walk from village to village. And of course, mostly it was barefooted or just about. So when they got to a village, then their feet would be washed. Their feet would be washed. And out of respect, you don't have to do it here, the residents of the village would take the water and sprinkle it on their heads. So that was the tradition. We're not expecting that here. But still, the tendency or the tradition of washing the feet we do as part of our Vyasa Puja ceremony. So normally it's just one or two devotees that wash, but we thought we'd do something a little different this year, where any of my disciples or aspiring disciples, male or female, they may pour water over my feet. So Murari Gupta Prabhu and Chaitanya Bhagavat Prabhu will be washing, and then after they finish, then the rest of disciples and aspiring disciples, they can come and pour some water as well. Hare Krishna. So the kirtan can continue.
Everyone can sit. So everyone can speak, otherwise no one can hear.
Technically, we're supposed to finish in 5 minutes according to the schedule. So go for it. Okay, it's not ice cold. Any of you guys do a pedicure?
Hare Krishna,
All right, one more cup each. One more cup each, and then let the others come.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama
What do you think about it? But you should get everyone moving. I don't want to take all day.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Okay, one's good.
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Rama Chakra. Different cup. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Again? I put it on the front seat.
The golden.
Is it there? That's it. Okay. I want to give some of these flowers. I'll keep that one. Leave that one back.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
Supposed to rip it out of the mouth, and this one too is so for that. Right on. Kaladas is supposed to be the same too. Over here. Time to get started. Hare
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Anyway, we'd like to welcome Mother Celia. If you can stand. Mother Celia is a very wise lady. She's part of the HWPL Peace Movement, which I've been affiliated with in a small way for the last 6 years. And I was thinking of how to describe her. And in America, we would call her a spark plug. Spark plug means someone who gets everyone going. If you don't have the spark plugs in the engine doesn't turn over. So she's the spark plug. And she's a wonderful personality. You wouldn't gauge by her quiet demeanor, but she's a very powerful and wonderful person. And we're glad to have had the opportunity of meeting her in this lifetime. And we hope that, anyway, I hope that I can help in their participation for world peace. And she's supervising what they call peace education. Peace education, what does that mean? That if we have a disagreement, what do? We yell at each other and then we start hitting or take out weapons or knives or guns or something. But what is peace education? It's telling people the best way to deal with difficulties and disagreements is not by raising your voice or any other activity, but by discussion, by trying to understand another person's point of view, which may be just as valid as one's own point of view, and then try to work out some way that both things can be accomplished. There's a famous cartoon you've probably seen, and it's got 2 donkeys. And in the middle, there's a pile of hay. No, there's 2 piles of hay, right, outside the donkeys. Now, the donkeys are pulling each other like mad because they each want to get to the hay that's on their side. So then, which is very intelligent for donkeys, they decide to work together. So then they come together and go onto one side and eat all the hay, and then they go together on the other side and eat all the hay. So a lot of ways we're not as good as donkeys, but the idea is that it's better to work together. So Mother Celia is a great exponent of that peacefulness that's required. And we're happy that she's come to visit us and bless us today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay.
His Great Medhāvī Prabhu came. Welcome, dear devotees, well wishers, friends, congregation of ISKCON Cape Town, ISKCON Cape Town Vyasa. My name is Kaladas, and I've been given this momentous task. I'm actually shaking in my boots. I can't believe that I'm doing this. But it's my absolute humble privilege to do this. We're here to celebrate the 21st, I beg your pardon, the 74th. We are to do the celebration of one of my favorite spiritual masters. If you don't know much about ISKCON, I think we're the only, not think, I know it's a fact, the only spiritual organization in the planet across all time, I don't know about the 3 worlds, I only know about this planet, that has 100 simultaneous initiating spiritual masters at the same time. And that's a momentous thing. So what's also momentous is, for most of us as Siksha disciples, Puja disciples basically means that we have other spiritual masters within ISKCON. But His Great Medhāvī Prabhu is most certainly one of my most favorite. I don't know if I can say that, but I'm saying it within ISKCON. So it's a great privilege and a great honor to just a little bit. In my time, I've done some things politically, and I've introduced ministers and things like that, just part of the job. And when I was writing this and thinking about this, sitting in Cape Town, I was like, why am I so nervous? I mean, how do I encapsulate 21? I beg your pardon, 74 days? How do I do justice within this very, very, and I've really got a short space of time to introduce such a magnanimous personality. And I've got just a snap quiz very quickly for the two of you, all of you actually. If I said Robben Island, what's the personality that comes to mind? Nelson Mandela. And why was he there? What is president? Now, I'd like to tell you something. He might have bought our freedom in a material sense, but he shares something very great with another great personality that is seated before you, that, believe it or not, has also spent a lot of time in prison. But he's done it, the difference is he's done it for Krishna. Just a quick story about Medhāvī Prabhu, for those of you that don't know. He spent perhaps clearly half a century in the service of Krishna. And I'd like somebody to pull out their phones very quickly and to calculate. He's a spiritual master. I'm not going to ask him how many rounds a day he jumps, but we can assume that he's doing, rightfully so, 16. So if we took 16 rounds, 365 days, times 51, so that's another thing, is that His Great Medhāvī Prabhu has been serving Srila Prabhupada and serving the greater community of ISKCON for the last 50 years. And I think that is a great honor. So I'm going to go on. When you find that answer, please tell me. Because what that basically means is it's the number of holy names that His Great Medhāvī Prabhu has been and if anybody beats that record, please may you stand. We glorify you.
It's minimum 297,840.
Again, His Great Medhāvī Prabhu Ki. That's absolutely amazing. I think before the program runs away, and there is the devotees that are dying to offer their offerings to Guru Maharaj. There is one great personality, though, we also have to acknowledge. And as the saying goes, behind every successful man is a successful woman. And in this particular case, she's much more than that. She's our mother. We refer to her as Guru Ma. It is those of you that know, she is the wife to Guru Maharaj. Lalita Mata, who is here. And I just like to say, if it wasn't for Guru Maharaj and his lovely family, who went through so many hardships for ISKCON Cape Town, this particular establishment you see here that is seated and worshipping on wouldn't be possible. And Guru Maharaj with her kids was small. You can imagine this, running a catering business from the University of Cape Town and using that Lakshmi and so forth and so on, assisted to keep this temple or pay off the mortgage of this temple. So with all my humility in my heart, I am truly grateful. On behalf of all of us, we offer you our humble pranam. Hare Krishna. That brings me to the next part of the program, which is we're going to call Joyce Prabhu, who is going to explain the meaning of Vyasa Puja. And as he comes up, I would also like us just to extend, I've been asked to do this and I'm grateful to do this, is to extend our deepest gratitude to Joyce Prabhu for putting on a very successful 2-day 2024 Festival of Chariots, Radha Yatra. I can do this to you.
Do you have it? What I'm supposed to be reading? Who is the organizer? Can you find it for him?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So I've been asked to read the meaning of Vyasa Puja. So this is a very long one, so please be attentive. Vyasa Puja is an offering of our gratitude to Srila Vyasadeva, the literary incarnation of the Lord, and the whole disciplic succession from Lord Krishna to Brahma to Narada to Vyasa and right down to the present day. The procedure for offering gratitude to Srila Vyasadeva is to honor his foremost representative, the spiritual master, on his appearance day. Thus, in today's International Society for Krishna Consciousness, with many initiating spiritual masters, Vyasa Puja is observed by their disciples on many days throughout the year. But the one Vyasa Puja that all ISKCON members observe is the appearance anniversary of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON and the main instructing spiritual master for all ISKCON members now and forevermore. When Srila Vyasadeva received knowledge from his spiritual master Narada Muni, he decided to organize it into 4 Vedas. Vyasadeva could see that in the future, with the arrival of Kali Yuga, most of society would be unable to remember the Vedic mantras just from hearing them. So he had them written down, divided into 4, and entrusted to his leading disciples. Then he wrote the Puranas, minus the Srimad Bhagavatam, to explain the Vedas, the Mahabharata for the less intelligent masses. Then he wrote the Vedanta Sutra, the summary of all Vedic literature. Although Vyasa thus engaged himself in the welfare work for all people, he still felt dissatisfied. In the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.4.30, Srila Prabhupada states, Srila Vyasadeva appeared to have lost the clue and therefore felt dissatisfied. At this critical time, his spiritual master Narada Muni came to him and explained the cause of Vyasadev's dissatisfaction. You have hardly broadcast the sublime and spotless glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That philosophy which does not satisfy the transcendental senses of the Lord is considered worthless. Although, great sage, you have very broadly described the 4 principles, beginning with the religious performances, you have not described in such an extent the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5, 8, and 9, and then the next 2 verses. Those words which do not describe the glories of the Lord, who alone can sanctify the atmosphere of the whole universe, are considered by saintly persons to be like unto the place of pilgrimage for crows. Since all perfect persons are inhabitants of the transcendental abode, they do not derive any pleasure there. On the other hand, that literature, which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, form, and pastimes, etc., of the unlimited Supreme Lord, is a different creation, full of transcendental words directed towards the bringing about a revolution in the pious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard and sung and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. After thus being advised by Narada, Srila Vyasadeva wrote Srimad Bhagavatam, the ripened fruit of all Vedic literature, for the welfare of the whole human society. This knowledge has been carefully passed down through the chain of disciplic succession to the present day, and I believe that all of us who have seriously heard, studied, and worshipped the Srimad Bhagavatam have experienced a revolution in our impious lives. Therefore, we have set aside this wonderful day for worshipping Srila Vyasadeva and our parampara by worshipping Vyasadev's most glorious modern representative, Srila Prabhupada. On the order of his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada brought the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, the teachings of the six Goswamis, and the Lord's holy name to the whole world. His mission was to save the fallen souls in the Western countries and throughout the world by spreading his knowledge. What an inconceivable, priceless gift! How can we ever begin to repay him for opening our tightly closed eyes? Vyasa Puja is not just an offering of flowers and praise to Srila Prabhupada, but an offering of our very lives. Srila Prahlad Maharaj captured the mood of a true disciple in his prayer to Lord Nrsimhadev, Srimad Bhagavatam 7:9-28. My dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, because of my association with material desires one after another, I have gradually fallen into a blind well full of snakes, following the general populace. But by your servant Narada Muni kindly accepted me as his disciple and instructed me how to achieve his transcendental position. Therefore, my first duty is to serve him. How could I ever leave his service? In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, while teaching Rupa Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai, Bhakti Lata Beach. One can achieve the seed of devotional service by the mercy of the Guru, the spiritual master, and then by the mercy of Krishna. This is the secret of our success. First, one should try to please the spiritual master, then one should attempt to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita 18:55 that only by devotional service can I be understood in truth. Srila Prabhupada afforded this supreme opportunity to all people of the world, making karma, guru, self-realization, and kirtan, etc., household words. So many people have become interested in yoga, kirtan, vegetarian diet, and reading Bhagavad Gita due to Srila Prabhupada's efforts. Who could have foreseen this revolution in consciousness? Srila Prabhupada did in 1965, when he was still alone in New York City. He met Mr. Rubin, a subway conductor, sitting on a park bench. They struck up a conversation, and Srila Prabhupada explained that there were many temples and books. They are all there, but the time is separating us from them. He had an absolute conviction that he would succeed because he was faithfully representing his Guru Maharaj, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the whole parampara. In 1966, with just a few followers and a handful of disciples, he decided to incorporate the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON. International? He had only one center in New York, yet Srila Prabhupada's conviction was unshakable. He could see temples and disciples all over the world. Only time separated him from them. In the Articles of Incorporation, Srila Prabhupada wrote 7 purposes of ISKCON. Number 1, to systematically propagate spiritual knowledge to society at large, and to educate all peoples in the techniques of spiritual life in order to check the imbalance of values of life and to achieve real unity and peace in the world. When Srila Prabhupada came to the West, he saw that people lacked any understanding of the genuine spiritual knowledge, what to speak of tools and techniques for realizing that knowledge. Srila Prabhupada made it his mission to provide both, just as Srila Vyasa wrote the Mahabharata to train and educate the less intelligent class in spiritual understanding. 2, to propagate a consciousness of Krishna as it is revealed in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Number 3, to bring the members of society together with each other and nearer to Krishna, the prime entity, and thus develop the idea within members and humanity at large that each soul is part and parcel of the quality of Godhead, Krishna. This education is keeping with the mission of the parampara. Srila Vyasadeva, on the order of the spiritual master Narada Muni, spent his life making the Vedic literature available in Sanskrit. Srila Prabhupada, on the order of his spiritual master, made Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and other essential literatures available in English and many other languages. Number 4, to teach and encourage the Sankirtan movement, the congregational chanting of the holy names of God, as revealed in the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Krishna came as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to break open the storehouse of love of God in this dark age of Kali, and he predicted that in every town and village of the world his names would be chanted. Srila Prabhupada, Lord Chaitanya Senapati Bhakta, the commander-in-chief of his army of devotees, fulfilled Lord Chaitanya's predictions in a mere 11 years of worldwide preaching after founding ISKCON in July of 1966. Number 5, to erect for the members of the society at large a holy place of transcendental pastimes dedicated to the personality of Krishna. 6, to bring members closer together for the purpose of teaching a simpler and more natural way of life. Number 7, with a view towards achieving aforementioned purposes, to publish and distribute periodicals, magazines, books, and other writings. This is Srila Prabhupada's unique vision of how to organize an institution whose mission is to impart transcendental knowledge and thus create a cultural revolution for the benefit of society. This mission is very essential of our parampara. Without changing the transcendental message, each acharya adapts it for time, place, and an audience that will receive it. We understand that Srila Prabhupada is a bona fide representative of Srila Vyasadeva because Srila Prabhupada embodies the teachings of Vyasadeva and explains Srimad Bhagavatam in a way that others can understand it, so that everyone can take advantage of this knowledge and go back to Godhead.
Hare Krishna. Haribol. Maybe we can stop there. It's going on a bit. So it's explaining the whole purpose of Vyasa Puja, that Srila Vyasadeva, who compiled all the saintly spiritual writings of the Vedas, anyone who follows in his succession, who follows the principles and the teachings given by Srila Vyasadeva on this particular day, and especially our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada, is worshipped. So again, Srila Prabhupada is the kingpin of all of the understandings of the Vedic literatures. And Srila Prabhupada very kindly brought that to the Western world. When Prabhupada arrived, there was nothing, there was no temples, there were no deities, no devotees, no nothing. So he came alone, and everything that we have here is due to his power and his endeavor. So again, we only claim to try to become his followers. And Srila Prabhupada, when he was leaving this world, there were some important life members that wanted to see him in Vrindavan. Practically speaking, he was on his deathbed. And they wanted to speak to Prabhupada privately. So he asked all the disciples to leave. And Bhakti Maharaj, who was there, was serving Prabhupada as his secretary, as his servant. When he was leaving, he pushed the button on the tape recorder to record what was going on, because he didn't want anyone, these people didn't want anyone there. So it turned out that these gentlemen, they were members, but they wanted to know who was Father Prabhupada's successor. We have succession planning and everything. But he wanted to know who Prabhupada would empower to be his successor of ISKCON. And Prabhupada replied, I have given the legacy to all my disciples, to all my followers. So whoever follows nicely, they will have the legacy. So Prabhupada had set up a GBC a governing body commissioned to ensure that no one person would be in command of the ISKCON society, but that different personalities who took responsibility for various areas of the world, that they could meet together and discuss and decide how the ISKCON movement would go on. So Prabhupada understood that, and he created this movement. And we're all part of a movement, actually, which is encouraging us to become spiritually inclined and at the same time to spread Krishna consciousness. And we have three main ways. One is Harinam, Sankirtan. You get the drums and the cymbals and you walk out the gate. You go down the street. You go down the Pick and Pay and you chant Hare Krishna. And people driving by in the cars and the people in the shops, they can hear the holy name of Krishna, which is so powerful. So powerful that it enters the heart. It goes through stone and it purifies everything. Then there's book distribution. His Holiness Kadamba Kanana compared book distribution to a cold shower. A cold shower. So you can take a bath, that's fine. You can set the water in a tempered low or warm or even hot. But cold, that's a shocker. That's real, shocks you. It wakens you up. So he considered book distribution to be the real austerity. And then we have prasadam distribution. His Grace Govardhan Srila Prabhu and his good wife and others, they're distributing free food offered to Krishna. It's not just food, but it's prasadam. It's offered to the Supreme Lord. So one of those three ways we can influence people in the world and benefit them by some association with Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada set all of that up for the benefit of everyone. And he accepted all kinds of young boys and girls from various backgrounds who had no understanding and no knowledge of Krishna or Krishna consciousness or Vedas or Lord Chaitanya. And he engaged them in spreading the Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. So if we personally have any credit, is that we came to Cape Town and we stayed here. And again, as Prabhu was mentioning, it created great difficulties for my family. My sons are sitting there, and my wife is there. And there were no other devotees here. The only other household devotees was Harish Chandra Prabhu and his good wife, Mamata Mai. They lived outside there. We lived in the temple. We were the only married couple. And eventually we were the only married couple with children. So it was difficult. It was difficult. There were no other children for them to play with. They had to go to schools where there was no support for spiritual understanding. Good schools, but good schools can be the bad schools, because what you learn in the good schools is bad. So to shake all that off and still become upright personalities, it's been a battle, and they're personally battling with that, as we all do. But so I put my family into great discomfort in various levels in order to keep in the association of devotees here. So that's all we have as a credit. It's called Prabhu Datta Desh. It's the place given by the spiritual master. So the tendency is when things get tough to hit the road, Jack, you know. But if you stay in one place, you can do so much. So we're encouraging everyone with the nice guidance of Gokalesh Prabhu and his good wife to stay here and get involved in Krishna consciousness. We have all we need, and all the people here. We have everything we need in order to make Krishna consciousness a powerful force in the world, which is, as we all know, quickly going to hell. Going to hell. If we remember when we were children, if a woman had a child out of wedlock, she was practically banished. Banished. What to say everything else? To tell a lie. To tell a lie. People would look at you like you were the most horrible person. And now lies are, just part of the normal course of conversation. People don't expect you to tell the truth. So the world is becoming more and more degraded. And Srila Prabhupada has given us the knowledge, the ability, and the society to change the course of human existences merrily, merrily, merrily down to hell. So we wanted to stop there, and we wanted to, Kala Prabhu, if you've arranged for different people, to offer some offerings.
Thanks, Maharaj. So we've now entered into that part of the program where disciples, Siksha disciples, beginning with some senior disciples, which are actually god brothers to Maharaj, who have their offerings, which Ashram Prabhu is going to play now. And then when we're done with that, offerings from His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj, Swami Maharaj, His Holiness Father Karati Das Swami Maharaj, Shruti Prabhu, and then offerings from disciples in this country. So if we could let that progress in that particular fashion. So over to you, Ashram.
Hare Krishna, Medhāvī Prabhu. Please accept my most humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, and all glories to you on your 74th Vyasa Puja Day. Yes, I know the number because you're several months older than me. Anyway, my humble obeisances, my very best wishes, my prayers to Srila Prabhupada, to Shishi Radharanath, to Shishi Natai Mayapur Chandra, there in Cape Town. And I am praying, or I should and continuing to pray for your well-being, your physical well-being as much as it's humanly possible nowadays. I don't need to go into detail about that, but you know what I mean. Yes, and my prayers that everything goes on as nicely as possible for you. By the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and the great, great personalities like you see in the picture behind me. And we know each other well. We first met, as I recall, it was in Berry Place in 1975. So in other words, 50 years ago, more or less. And then, I think you were distributing books there at that time. I was also. We didn't have a lot of association, but we definitely had some association. And then we both ended up here in South Africa in 1980. And then we had loads of association. Oh, we had so much association, and I've always appreciated your steadfastness, your dedication as a devotee, as disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and as a member of Prabhupada's ISKCON, your willingness, your happiness to go beyond, just the basic necessities, to make special efforts in devotional service. Particularly that time when we were just together every day for, like 2.5 years. What would it be? Or 3 years, actually. Around 3 years we were together, almost 24/7, except that during the day, Ramanuja Prabhu and I went out as a little group together, and you went out yourself for the day, and the morning program was there together. Then in the evening, usually we got together, and we were all together. We were a team, and just a really nice team. A really nice team, dedicated in service to Srila Prabhupada, in service to Radha. So then, then the temple opened. That was, what was that, 85 September, I think, or late 85. And then, we were based in Joburg. Then eventually you ended up in Cape Town. But I would visit Cape Town and get your association again. And, I always appreciated your association, particularly when we were just really together, raising funds for the construction of Radharani Temple. But then also in Cape Town, you were the temple president for quite some time, and you did so much service. And, you helped develop the project, which is still developing. Actually, it's a great success. In Krishna consciousness, it's a great success in Prabhupada's movement. And particularly when you were president, you really did great service there. And I would come from time to time, usually a couple of times a year or whatever it may be, maybe a little more often sometimes. And I get your association and see you in action. And it was great. So now you're such a senior devotee, you're a spiritual master, you have a number of disciples, and you're helping carry the weight of Srila Prabhupada's movement forward in that sort of capacity, and just the general capacity of being a senior devotee. And I always appreciate nowadays, like recent years, when I come down and I get your association and we have some programs together. Like last year, His Holiness Kadamba Maharaj just left this world while I was there in Cape Town. And we had programs together. It was deep. It was deep, and it was really wonderful. And an important part of why it was wonderful is because you are deep. You're a deep person, deep in Krishna consciousness, and a wonderful soul, a wonderful character, with your own special nature in Srila Prabhupada's service. So I'm praying today to Srila Prabhupada, Shri Radharani, Shri Giri Govardhan, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Vaibhav Chandra. I'm praying for them all to continue looking after you the way they're doing, and to facilitate you so you can continue with your wonderful service as Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami ki jai. So Mars is a very generous person in his recollections. So, and of course he is one of the beacon lights of Krishna consciousness here in South Africa. So he has very kindly extended himself to mention some different things. So we thank him for that. Or, yeah.
Next one is from Parthasarathi Maharaj.
Yeah.
This is a offering to His Grace Medhāvī Prabhu from his junior godbrother, Parthasarathi Das Goswami.
He is my senior.
I've had the good fortune of associating with His Divine Grace, Srila Medhāvī Prabhu, since he arrived in South Africa around 1980. It was a few months after His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj arrived. And during the last 45 years, he has proven himself as an extremely dedicated and loyal follower of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. He's performed very difficult service through the apartheid era and also fundraising, and at the same time bringing up a family. Srila Medhāvī Prabhu is an ideal example of a dedicated Grihastha disciple of Srila Prabhupada and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Most of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's followers were Grihasthas. They were not sannyasis or Babajis. And if we look at the life of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he had more than 13 children. At least one was born, stillborn. So whether you wear saffron or whether you wear white, or whether you're a man or whether you're in a woman's body, actually makes no difference. So I strongly recommend the Vaishnavas in the Cape Town area to take guidance and shelter from Srila Medhāvī Prabhu. Whether he's your Diksha Guru or whether he's your Siksha Guru, he has over 50 years worth of spiritual experience that he can share with you and he can guide you. And Srila Prabhupada has also written in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi-Hina, chapter 1, there is no difference between the Siksha Guru and the Diksha Guru. They're both identical manifestations of Krishna's mercy. So I request the devotees to realize this point about Siksha. In our particular line, it's called Guru Bhaga. Siksha is emphasized more than Diksha. If you trace back the different acharyas from Srila Prabhupada to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there's roughly 7 or 8 who are in Siksha relationship, and about 2 that are only in Diksha relationship. So without minimizing one's own Diksha Guru, one can also take shelter of other senior Vaishnavas. And I recommend that you do this. We're fortunate that Medhāvī Prabhu resides in the Cape Town area. He doesn't travel so much, whereas others are constantly traveling, like Jai, Wittamaj, etc. So we should take advantage of this. And if you have some spiritual problem, need some guidance, then write to him, or better, one-on-one, inquire from him, and also engage in Vaishnava Seva. So on this occasion, I bow down to the lotus feet of all the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, ladies and men, especially on this day, Srila Medhāvī, Prabhu. And I pray that he can think of me in a favorable way, and in that way I can get some mercy from our Guru Parampara. Srila Medhāvī Prabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, our Guru Bhaga ki jai, Rupa Raghunath ki jai, Gauru Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.
His Holiness Parthasarathi Das Goswami Maharaj ki. So, for those who don't know, Parthasarathi Maharaj was the foundation of Krishna consciousness here in South Africa with his tent program, where we set up a marquee that held about 2,000 people. And in the evenings, in the Indian areas, the Indian locations, he put on programs practically every night, or at least over the weekends, and he preached Krishna consciousness, practically single-handedly. So he's been here working very hard since 1973. And unfortunately, his health is problematic at this time. So we ask everyone to pray for his good health and good wishes so that he can continue to guide us by his wonderful example. He's my senior godbrother by a couple of years, really. And he's even senior to Chaitanya Maharaj, but he always says that he's the younger. So if he wants to say that, that's fine. But he's a wonderful example of a very strict follower of Srila Prabhupada. Usually, he spends 6 months of the year in Vrindavan. 6 months of the year. We have some devotees who just came back from India. 3 weeks, 3 weeks. That's a long haul. 6 months, that's a real experience. Because India is a very, especially Govardhan Hill and Vrindavan are very, very holy and sanctified places, but also very purifying places. So he's been doing that for many, many years. Unfortunately, due to his health, he wasn't able to go the last couple of years. But he's a great wonder in the ISKCON society. Hare Krishna.
There's one from Shruti.
Oh.
Yes. I'd like to congratulate you on your Vyasa Puja birthday celebration this January 11th. I don't know what to say. I can't say something as elegant as you said for me on my 55 years being in Krishna consciousness. But I will say that you are the Cape of Good Hope for Cape Town, and you're definitely the rock of the Cape Town area. And the devotees there are so blessed to have you as their spiritual master, their guide, philosopher, and friend. And I only wish I could spend more time with you like I did in Mayapur. But as Prabhupada said, if you're chanting there and not chanting here, we're still together. And I hope to see you in Mayapur. But my thoughts and prayers are always with you. And I'm so thankful to have a godbrother that's such a pure soul like you, and have the best birthday Vyasa Puja ever on the 11th of January. Hare Krishna, all glories to Prabhupada, all glories to you, wonderful service.
Hare Krishna. So people won't know Shruti Prabhu unless you are on the inside. But Shruti Prabhu came to South Africa, accompanied by another devotee, in the early 70s. Accompanied by a sannyasi, Rishi Kumar Maharaj. And Rishi Kumar had been in Prabhupada's personal service. And this sometimes happens, that a devotee may be used to interacting with their spiritual master on a regular basis. But then when they have to leave his association, because they're not in that spiritual bubble of their Guru Maharaj, then they start having problems. So he came here, Shri Guru was only like 17 years old. And Rishi Kumar left him and went back to India. 17-year-old boy, all alone in apartheid South Africa. And before he left, he had just ordered a big supply of Srila Prabhupada's books from Los Angeles. Thousands and thousands of rands. So he didn't worry about himself. He knew Srila Prabhupada would protect him. So he contacted members of the Indian community, and they were astonished how this little boy from America was there preaching up a storm by himself. By himself. And they just couldn't help but jump in to help him. So, and of course it was illegal at the time to, and eventually the secret police caught him. They brought him to Joburg, to a famous place called John Foster Square. John Foster Square, which is infamous for how many freedom fighters died by jumping from the window 13 stories. No, they didn't jump. They didn't jump. So they brought him there, and one of the police officers said, he pointed to the window and said, "You see that window? That's where they disappear. That's where they disappear." So Shri Prabhu went over to the window, and he looked out the window, and he started waving. So then the police officers were like, "What the heck's going on here?" So then he said, "You see that lady down there? She's my mother. She's a big lawyer from America. Anything happens to me, your whole country's in big trouble. Big trouble." So he said it with such authority that even the secret police guy was shaking in his boots. Real boots, not the ones that Kaladas was wearing and shaking out of. But eventually they allowed him to leave within 7 days. And he was able to contact Srila Prabhupada and arrange for some devotees to come. And he left them with a positive balance in the BBT. He left them with a vehicle and with so many contacts of people very much interested in helping the Krishna consciousness movement. So he was, every person in ISKCON in South Africa owes him a great debt of appreciation, because he really did something spectacular. Hare Krishna. So we're supposed to be finishing at 4:50. We're almost there. So we're going to cut a few minutes out of the Bhoga offering. And Bhoga offering will go quickly. So we can go till 5. Okay? And we'll try to end on time. I'll ask Gokuleshwaru for his forbearance.
Hare Krishna. Medhāvī Prabhu, all glories to your 74th Vyasa Puja. Thank you very much for the garland. I was sitting there feeling this prasadam that you'd so kindly given. And I was just like, really, it's beautiful. It's got a beautiful fragrance of geranium. But besides that, I was kind of bathing in your mercy. And thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. Kala Prabhu brought up the theme of prison. So I'll try to just tell a short story about a devotee of Srila Prabhupada whose name was Haridas. And he was a street urchin and a professional pickpocket.
And it just so happened when he was in prison, he saw a Back to Godhead magazine. And on the back of the Back to Godhead magazine was a picture of Srila Prabhupada with a Rolex watch on. And he said to his prison inmates, he said, I'm going to steal that man's watch. So anyway, he left prison and he found out the devotees and he ended up joining the temple. And once when he was with Srila Prabhupada in his darshan, Srila Prabhupada said, here, you can have it, and gave him the watch. So I'm kind of just paraphrasing, but sometime later, Haridas wanted to go preach in the West. So to get his passport, he didn't know who his father was, because he was a street urchin and an orphan. So he went to Srila Prabhupada and said, Srila Prabhupada, I have this quandary. I don't know who my father is to put on the application. So Srila Prabhupada said, bring it. And Srila Prabhupada signed A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada as his father. And Srila Prabhupada said that I did the same. I put that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was my father when I did my passport application to travel to the West. So on that note, I'd really like to thank Mother Lalita. I'd like to thank Prahlad and Bala. Thank you for sharing Medhāvī Prabhu with us, with so many people over so many years here in Cape Town.
Don't forget Narayan.
Sorry, did I say Prahlad? I meant Narayan. Sorry, Prahlad. I looked at you and I just saw, Prahlad. Narayan and Bala. Thank you for sharing your dad with so many of us, so many disciples and friends and Shiksha disciples. Because really that's what the relationship is. It's a relationship of love and appreciation. So we had a little time call, so I was going to read something, but I'm gonna abbreviate what I was going to read, and I'm just going to read one little excerpt from my Reverend Spiritual Master's book about the Juhu story. And he mentions that once, this was in the later days in Bombay when Srila Prabhupada was quite ill, but one devotee asked Prabhupada, when you get angry with us, what should we do? How should we feel? What should we think? And then Srila Prabhupada replies, if the spiritual master is angry with you, you should be pleased. Prabhupada replied, it means that he is attending to you. You should feel happy. You should understand that your spiritual master cares for you. His getting angry with you means he is looking after you. He is concerned about your spiritual progress. When my Guru Maharaj became angry with me, he added, we were pleased. There were so many hundreds and thousands of people in the streets, but no one is looking after them. But if the spiritual master becomes angry with the disciple, that is his mercy on that person. If someone is walking down the street and doing nonsense, no one will check him. So many people are doing so much nonsense, but no one is checking them. But if someone is checked, if a disciple is checked by his spiritual master, that is to his eternal benefit. So many people in the material world are doing all kinds of nonsense. Is there anybody checking them, correcting them? No, they will all go to hell. When the spiritual master gets angry at the disciple, it is the mercy of Krishna on that soul. All glories to your Vyasa Puja, Medhāvī Prabhu, and please get angry at me anytime.
Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna. I have to mention that Rupa Raghunath is an extremely enthusiastic personality. And we were up in Southwest Africa. It takes 24 hours to drive there from Joburg. And we did it a couple of times. And we were driving, and he doesn't even remember, I'm surprised. We were driving from Uppington to Gruno, which is just inside Southwest Africa. In the middle of the night, we're driving on this lonely road going through the sand and bushes, because it's completely arid there. And he had a bakkie, and there was this big truck coming from the other side, and the guy driving the other truck actually went over the line, and he smashed the window, the rear view mirror of the bakkie that Rupa was driving, and it smashed his mirror, his window there. So then we pulled over and he was fine. But another couple of inches, and it was a big, heavy truck, not one of those tall ones, one of those shorter ones they use for cement or coal or something like that. So he was very lucky to get through there. So he went all the way up to Southwest Africa, and we couldn't sell a thing. Nobody was interested in the paintings. And we'd driven all that way, spent so much time, so much petrol to get there. And then one day, Rupa Raghunath broke through. And I called the temple in Joburg and I said, Rupa Raghunath has caught fire. So they didn't know what that meant. But the fact was that he had broken through by his determination and his enthusiasm. People were, even people that weren't interested in what we were selling, they were buying. And then it spread to all of us. And we did what we call cleaned up. 30,000 rand in 1 week, which was pretty good for those days. Another point is he's talking about Haridas. And I was listening to his memories of Srila Prabhupada. And as Rupa was saying, he was a criminal, basically. And he had joined a temple in Bombay as well. And Panchadravida Prabhu was the kitchen in charge. And Haridas told him, this was before he was named Haridas, didn't really have a name. Actually, Giriraj Swami gave him a name because he came on Haridas Thakur's disappearance day. So he told Panchadravida, well, there's an initiation going on upstairs. I want to go see what it's like. And Panchadravida told him, yeah, you can take 5 minutes, go and see. So then he took 15 minutes. And Panchadravida asked, well, what took so long? What did you do? He said, no, I got initiated. He said, you got initiated? Then get back up there. Get up there and attend the fire. And Tulsi Das, our regional secretary, when Prabhupada called him up, it wasn't intended, it wasn't planned. He didn't pass the initiation committee's requirements. Prabhupada just called him up. And Tulsi Das said, no, Prabhupada, you can't initiate him. He's a criminal. He's a thief. And Prabhupada looked at Tulsi Das. He said, don't ever tell me what I should do or not do. So he gave him initiation. And later on, he became a servant of Srila Prabhupada's. And he was mentioning this. And it's so wonderful that he became one of the servants for Prabhupada. And he went into Prabhupada's room. And Prabhupada was always very grave, very serious, very grave. Because being in this material world is a dangerous place. So, but Prabhupada at this time, he was kind of jovial. He was chuckling to himself. And Haridas said, Srila Prabhupada, is there something wrong? He said, no. He said, I was thinking of my last life. And I was serving my Guru Maharaj. And he was saying, I was a medical person. And I was serving my Guru Maharaj very devotedly. And it was some hut or some randaval or something. And his Guru Maharaj pointed up in the roof, in the thatch, and he said, you see that snake? There was a snake crawling. It was raining outside. He said, I want you to kill that snake. I want you to kill that snake. So it's the order of his guru. So then he captured the snake and he killed it. And he was chuckling. He said, because I killed that snake, now I have to save so many snakes like you. So, yeah, that was a wonderful one too. He recently passed away. But a great soul, you know, starting from the material energy hadn't really given him much to start with. But fortunately, he found Srila Prabhupada, as we all have had the good fortune of coming into contact with him. And whatever we're distributing is simply the little bit of mercy that we've been able to acquire from His divine grace. Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay.
My arm's still not working, so...
That's okay. Don't worry.
Shangyo.
Okay. Thank you. I'm very blessed. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. So Jyoti Prabhu organized the whole Rath Yatra festival, which Lord Jagannath increased to 2 days instead of 1. But he worships Lord Jagannath every day. So he's a wonderful servant of the Lord. And we're very fortunate to have him still with us here in Cape Town.
So, I actually lost my phone. So I'll have to speak on the fly. So I've been out of action for some time because of my shoulder injury, but Raja Vilasini has been doing the puja for Jagannath, so she's been taking on a lot of responsibility. Okay. So I'd like to thank you for all the service that you've rendered over the years. Please accept my humble obeisances and wish to Srila Prabhupada. So my first encounter with you was you unknowingly. I went to a school down the road called Marist Brothers, and I have a friend that lives in the road next door. So I'd come past this house. So before the temple was here, we would play in this house. It was an old, run-down place. A lot of Bekhis used to be here, and old people. So we used to throw rocks and break the windows, and we were naughty kids. And we lived. My friend lived down the road, so I would stay over at his house. And so one day I was walking past the house, and I saw, oh, it's all pink now, and it's been painted. And I thought, who's moved in here? Then I saw you walking down the road with, I think it was Narayan in a pram. That was the first encounter I saw of you. And I was thinking, these monks, are they meant to have children? So it bewildered me for the first. So then a friend of mine said, let's go visit the temple. So he actually brought me to the temple. And then I was reading later, Srila Prabhupada said the same thing. A friend brought him to the temple. So I had no interest in coming to the temple, but a friend literally forced me to come. And I was happy that he forced me to come because I ended up joining the temple and he never ever took to Krishna consciousness. And the same thing happened to Srila Prabhupada's friend. That Srila Prabhupada's friend never took to Krishna consciousness, but Srila Prabhupada started this whole worldwide organization. When I was in India with my first time in India, I was staying there for some months, and you had come visited India at that time, and you brought Dharpayan with you, and we all traveled together to Mayapur. I was in Vrindavan. I had been there for 6 months or so, and we all traveled to Vrindavan. So you were the senior Prabhupada disciple, and I thought that I would do something for you very nice. When we were traveling, I would take you to a friend of my Guru Maharaj's that would be able to put us up for a few hours while we rested, and then we get on the train and go to Mayapur. So this devotee, we all went with my spiritual master Bhakti Churu Swami, and we were treated very nicely there. We were given opulent prasadam, we were given nice facilities, nice accommodation. But when I went there with you, I don't know if you remember, the person that was so generous and so nice in the previous weeks that I was there,
With your Guru Maharaj.
Yeah, it was with Nrsimha Maharaj and Dwaipayan and yourself and myself. And I thought I'd take the devotees to this very nice congregation member, and he would look after us and be very nice to us. But as soon as we got there, he said, just leave your bags and get out of the house. His wife treated us very nicely. And then when he came home, he was like, what are you doing here? What do you want? So we want to stay for a few hours before our train leaves. He said, no, you can't stay here. You must please go out. So we didn't know what to do. So we had to leave his house, but we had no place to go. So we sat outside the house on the pavement and waited for our friends to come back. And Medhāvī Prabhu was so gracious. He didn't blame me. He didn't give me any bad feelings. He took it just like a very humble devotee. We sat on the pavement, and he told me many stories about his time in India and with Srila Prabhupada. And one story that I can recall is that Medhāvī Prabhu was in Mayapur, and he was helping in the Goshala, and at one time the devotees had accumulated all kinds of building materials like wood and concrete, the steel reinforcing for concrete. So people would steal the building supplies overnight. So Medhāvī Prabhu told me that in order to keep the building materials safe at night, he would sleep on top of the building materials. So that was how dedicated the devotees were in the early days, building up Mayapur, different temples in India, totally committed and selfless service to Srila Prabhupada. So this is just one example of Medhāvī Prabhu's qualities. The other is his humility. Throughout the years I know him, he's been very humble devotee, always taking the position of the servant, serving all the devotees, and being the qualities of a devotee. He's been fulfilling that so much and so nicely. So I really appreciate your humility and your qualities as a devotee of Krishna. And thank you for establishing this temple. If it wasn't for Medhāvī Prabhu and Lalita Mataji, we wouldn't have a temple here. I remember my first service in the temple was Mother Lalita cooking in the Sunday feast program. And as usual, the first devotee, the newest devotee, would be the devotee that does the most menial service. So that service usually was, Mother Lalita gave me the service of taking up 3 bags of oranges and squeezing them with one of those little hand squeezers. So that was like the torture of that. We had to use a hand squeezer to squeeze fresh orange juice for all the Sunday feast devotees. So that was my initiation into the Sunday feast program. So I appreciate the training that I got from these 2 devotees. It lasted me a lifetime. And I can honestly say, due to their training, that's the reason I'm still around today. So thank you very much, Prabhu, for glories to your service. His grace, Medhāvī Prabhu ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Well, there's so much to say. I'll keep it very short. But Joshua Prabhu, as many of the devotees know, he carried this temple for 10 years. And he managed to get their lordship served, the devotees cared for. And unfortunately, I wasn't a big help. So I apologize and ask for his forgiveness. Of course, he's a humble soul and he'll ask for mine. But he's also a very great soul. And he's one of the cornerstones of Krishna consciousness here in Cape Town, along with his good wife and his daughter. So they're still doing fantastic service, putting on a Rath Yatra. We had a bit of a lull in Rath Yatras, but he's given a lot more juice to it, and it's coming up. We did an extra day Rath Yatra. And usually you got the feeling that, well, it's for the Indians and everybody was ignoring. But we changed, or the devotees changed the route. And we went right through the residential areas. Of course, they're not houses, they're flats. But then people were coming down to find out, what is this? What are you guys about? So people were starting to realize this is something special. And for the first time in a number of years, anyway, it was just me, I began to feel that Rath Yatra is going to take off. It's going to take off. It's going to be a festival that's going to be on the billboards. And people will be waiting. Of course, we have to get the holy festival involved in it too. But it'll be a wonderful festival. Thanks to Jyotir who organized this last one and organized the first Rath Yatra here many years ago. His Grace Jyotir Prabhu ki. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So yeah, I've been given the opportunity today to just say a few words on behalf of the management team for ISKCON Cape, Virtual Qualities of the Devotees. And as some of us would know, it was explained in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, there are 26 qualities of the devotee, and which Srila Prabhupada then went on to explain further in his purport. And we see practically all of these qualities exhibited in Medhāvī Prabhu. And I know, I'm not too sure for the program director how much time I have. These 26 qualities, if I have a minute on each, would that be okay? So, unfortunately, I will have to just pick and choose those qualities to highlight, which I feel resonates with most of us and what we actually get to see and experience in our association with His Grace Medhāvī Prabhu. So a few of those that immediately pop to mind is that he is very kind to everyone. He does not make an enemy of anyone. And that is certainly something that we see through all our interactions with him. He is also someone who is truthful, does not fault find, always clean. He works for the benefit of everyone. And that we see even though at the young age of 74, we see he is always steadfast, dedicated, motivated in spreading Krishna consciousness, like even through the online platforms, making sure comes to temple, regularly in order to engage and still serve in spreading Krishna consciousness, something that most of us are unable to do. He's also, if you look at his demeanor, he may come across as very grave, but he is also extremely merciful. He is serious, yet he is also very kind and jovial at the same time. And we all experienced the light-hearted side of Medhāvī Prabhu when we listen to the classes, and even though with some of those subtle jokes that he has, that just lightens the mood and help you actually to absorb Krishna consciousness in a very amenable manner. And I think these are all things that we can appreciate, and we look forward to experiencing for many more Vyasa Pujas to come. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर्मोहितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। So we were reading in the meaning of the Vyasa Puja, there's the book Bhagavad, the Srimad Bhagavatam. But in order to understand the book Bhagavad, you need the practical example, which is the person Bhagavad. the person who has dedicated his life to the book of God. And so here, practically, for us to follow and see the example is His Grace Medhāvī Prabhu. You can read the scripture, you can study it for many years, but without seeing the practical manifestation of the scripture, you may misunderstand. But as we are fortunate to have the association of Medhāvī Prabhu, we can see practically how to implement spiritual life, how to grow in spiritual life. So, unfortunately, this is the nature of things, that by the time the disciples have an opportunity to say anything, the program is practically over, and all of you are getting squeezed. And maybe some of you are thinking, well, this is my day. And yes, that is true. So I was also thinking how to maybe encourage you all a little bit. Even though you may not have so much of time now in the program to offer flowery words of appreciation to the spiritual master, practically speaking, that's not so important. To cooperate with the spiritual master means to understand the mood and the mission of the spiritual master. And when one understands the mood and the mission of the spiritual master, then it means that one has to undertake to do something. To do something in his service. So, if you look at the life of Medhāvī Prabhu, Srila Prabhupada said, when I will look at any one of my disciples, I don't see all of my qualities. But when I see a group of my disciples, then I see some of my qualities manifest. So I was looking around at all of you, and I was thinking, well, if you want to fire up kirtan, then there's Chaitanya Bhagavad Prabhu there. If you want someone who loves to serve the devotees and works very hard, there's our Abhimanyu Prabhu. If you want someone who has a very nice sense of humor and is open to all of the devotees, we have our Murari Prabhu. So those are the qualities of Medhāvī Prabhu that are manifesting in all of you. But that's not enough. You have to look at the life of Medhāvī Prabhu. You have to sacrifice for Srila Prabhupada. Don't go to jail. I don't want to pay any bail. So don't do that. But sacrifice to distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. If you want to see how to be an ideal householder, he's setting the example. If you want to see anything, practically speaking, how to live in Krishna consciousness, you have to see his example. That he sacrificed everything to maintain one of Srila Prabhupada's projects. That he broke his body to maintain his family and the devotees. So, in as much as we can claim to be followers of Medhāvī Prabhu and Srila Prabhupada, this is actually what it means. It's not a light thing. It's not a small thing. So, the Vyasa Puja is an opportunity for us to recommit to our spiritual master. To say that, see, he's very kind and gentle with all of you. So I have to put some fire in now. So, it's an opportunity for us to say, I am where I am, and that's great. But what am I going to do to really please you and to conquer you? That's the duty of the disciple. The duty of the disciple is to conquer the spiritual master again and again. Just like the gopis, as soon as anyone got proud that they had conquered Krishna, what happened? Krishna disappeared. So our duty as disciples is to conquer the spiritual master again and again. And that's not a small thing. So, even though you may not get so much time today, but you have your lives to offer to the spiritual master. And that will please him very much, I'm sure. His Grace Medhāvī Prabhu ki.
Thank you. So Gokuleshwaru is the temple manager, or he's chairman of the temple board. And my all-encompassing desire is that my disciples and my followers do everything they can possibly do to assist Kokalesh Prabhu in maintaining and expanding this ISKCON Cape Town by book distribution, by Harinam Sankirtan, by Food for Life distribution. Do what you can with your intelligence, your mind, your words, your assets to keep this temple going very nicely. And that's always been my desire. Chaitanya Bhagwat and Marari Gupta are involved in the DD program. Mother Keshwara Priya also so much more, but she's got more responsibilities now. And others who have their other positions and services. And I appreciate that you can do whatever you can. Don't expect any recognition. Don't expect any praises. Those aren't part of ISKCON, really. We do things without a desire for that. But as we grow and become more mature in Krishna consciousness, then that will automatically come. So we'd appreciate that's an instruction that goes to everyone. Do what you can to assist Kokalesh Prabhu and the other devotees here in expanding Krishna consciousness here in Cape Town. Hare Krishna.
Dear Medhāvī Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Is it on? Can you hear?
Just speak into the mic.
No. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to your grace. Should I just hold it?
I think you should just hold it.
Yeah.
Today hold it. It's fine.
That's fine. Thank you. Today is a very special day for me because I can finally get to glorify you in person. Life has come full circle for me, and now at a very difficult time in my life, I find myself sheltered by your family. This temple is where I began my ashram life, and you were my first temple president. I feel so happy to be standing here now before Shri Nitai Mayapur Chandra, Srila Prabhupada, your grace, and the assembled Vaishnavas. Our relationship spans 33 years, and you have always been like a loving spiritual father to me, always concerned for my welfare and always guiding and nurturing me on my spiritual path. I am forever grateful that Krishna blessed me with your kind, loving, and caring association. In Prabhupada Leelamrita, during a morning walk, Jataka Swami inquired about the standards required before a man could take sannyas. To become a sannyasi, Srila Prabhupada replied, the other three processes are there: to become brahmachari, to become grihastha, and to become vanaprastha, stage by stage. But if one is able, he can take sannyas, and that competency is also very simple. If you become fully Krishna conscious, then you can immediately become competent. Brahma bhuyaya kalpatya. As soon as you fully engage yourself in Krishna consciousness, then immediately you become more than a sannyasi. More than a sannyasi, that is food for thought. I see that full engagement in Krishna consciousness in you, Medhāvī Maharaj. In your constant reading, studying, and teaching of Krishna consciousness, in your steady chanting and sadhana, in your listening to Srila Prabhupada and your godbrother's lectures and making notes, in the many emails and calls that you receive when you are counseling, helping, and guiding countless devotees, in your steady seva and sadhana over 50 years. I remember the old days when you were our temple president, and the temple really felt like a house in which the whole world could live. You kept Srila Prabhupada firmly in the center and treated all the devotees equally. It didn't matter who our gurus were. There were no cliques or groupie mentality. Just simply serving Srila Prabhupada and his mission in a family atmosphere. One simply has to look at your bookshelf to see where your loyalty and fidelity lies. The most worn-out books on your bookshelf are your set of Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. Simply put, you are a Prabhupada man, an unsung hero and a devoted disciple. I remember during my ashram years, the time spent with your beautiful family. Your wife, Mother Lalita, is a strong, courageous, and brave woman. Her yummy prasadam kept us all fueled and joyous in our Krishna consciousness. Your wonderful sons, Narayan, Bala, and Prahlad, who carry your soft heart and great wisdom into the world, have your light. The world requires more such bright souls treading in all spheres of life. When I was a street Sankirtan devotee, your home was a refuge and shelter for me. I'm an introvert by nature, so spending long hours and many days in shopping malls during Christmas marathons was overwhelming and stressful. Taking the time out regularly to spend time with your family kept me grounded and centered. Less informed or less knowledgeable people might scorn the Grihastha ashram, but most people in this world will be married or in partnerships. Most people will have children and or pets. Thank you for being that living example of a spiritually successful Grihastha. Thank you for being that spiritual elder of impeccable character. Due to your extreme humility, you might not be able to understand your greatness. Please forgive us for our shortcomings and lack of humility. All glories to you, Medhāvī Maharaj. Your servant, Puja Dasi.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Well, Trijamani Mataji was one of the first devotees who joined us here in Cape Town. She was a student at UCT. Did you ever finish your degree? No, not. So she joined the temple and she became good friends with Mother Lalita, which also helped her as she continues to do. And it was tough. It wasn't easy back then. But the devotees pulled together. We went on book distribution together. We went on Harinam together. We went on Food for Life together. And it was, as Prabhupada would wish, a big family. So Mother Dvija was a big part of that because she likes to be the glue. She's the glue that keeps people together because she's always encouraging. She's always interested in a person where they're at, what they're experiencing, what difficulties they may be confronting. Even though she may have her own, she's always willing to help others. So she's a wonderful Vaishnavi. And we thank you very much for your kind words. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear Medhāvī Prabhu. Please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to you and your lifetime of service offered to the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. All glories to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. We wish to express our deepest gratitude and admiration for the profound impact that you've had on our lives and the lives of so many, but especially those that have walked through the doors of ISKCON Cape Town. Your unwavering faith in Guru, humility, and compassion for the conditioned souls shine as a beacon of hope in a world that often feels misguided and uncertain. Through your words, action, and mere presence, you remind us of the beauty of selfless service, the power of unconditional love, and the importance of staying connected to our spiritual lineage. Your example inspires us to rise above our limitations and strive for a life filled with purpose, service, and devotion. In moments of doubt, your wisdom has been a source of clarity. In times of despair, your example has been a source of strength. We were especially touched by your ability to see the good in everyone and to uplift others with kindness and encouragement. Your life is a testament to the transformative power of grace and surrender, and it fills our hearts with hope and motivation to walk this path with all sincerity we can muster. Thank you for your timeless dedication to this glorious movement of Sri Gauranga and for being a living example of the divine mercy in action. Please accept our humble gratitude and heartfelt prayers for your continued guidance and association. With respect and affection, your servants, Shiv Chakradas and Gunamantri.
Hare Krishna.
His Grace Medhāvī Prabhu ki, Leela Prabhupada.
Hare So we were managing the temple here in Cape Town from 1988 till 1992. We went to India for 6 months. We tried to stay there, but it was a bit problematic. We went to America. We stayed there for 15 months. We came back to South Africa. We had nowhere to go. And Mother Gunamanjari, Shiv Shankar very kindly took us in and helped us get back on our feet. So we're always very grateful for your kindness then, which is continuing always. And they very kindly cooked the feast today. And according to the calendar, according to the program, anyway, there's supposed to be a cake cutting and Bhoga offering. So I don't want people to leave because the program's gone over. So Mother Linda, what shall we do? Hare Krishna. Ask the boss.
Well, if we could call all of your disciples to come forward, disciples and aspiring disciples to come forward. And we're going to give them 5 minutes. There's 7 of them, so it means each one of them gets less than a minute. And I'm going to be standing next to them. So from your offering, all of you have written nice offerings, which you will offer to Medhāvī Prabhu later. But I want you to take 1 or 2 lines of the essence of your offering. And why is that? It's because we also want to hear from you. And because I put the pot on the stove, I also want to hear what promises you're going to make. And I'm going to write it down. So I'm just stalling for some time. So we're going to give you all just a couple of minutes to offer to the community of devotees and your spiritual master the essence of your offering. Is that okay? So all of you can come forward and you can offer your obeisances to Medhāvī Prabhu. Don't be afraid. I'll stand outside if it helps. So all of you please come forward. Like I said, I know what it's like on a Vyasa Puja day when the disciples get squeezed. So I don't want you to get squeezed out altogether. But at the same time, I also want to honor Medhāvī Prabhu's desire to move along with the program. Is that okay?
Thank you.
Okay, so less than 1 minute.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristata Talay Smati Medhāvī Satinamam.
No pranam, all the pranam mantras are offered.
I got to listen. Oh, that's better. Thank you. So I'm just going to read the last paragraph that I wrote. In the definition of an acharya, it talks about behaving according to the Shastric regulative principles and teaching us in that way, but you also teach us about the importance of chanting the holy name of Krishna. In the third verse of the Shikshastakam, Lord Chaitanya says one should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind. One of the recurring descriptions of your character is regarding your humility. Not only are you following the Shastric injunctions, an example to us on how to develop our Krishna consciousness, but your humility and tolerance are an example to us on how our state of mind needs to develop in order to be able to chant the holy names of the Lord constantly. I'm so privileged to be your disciple. I can only say that in the year ahead I can become a better disciple.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Gurudev. I'm just trying to recall a little bit. I had a lot of offering, but according to the time, I can't actually say all of that. In 2017, I was a bit quite disturbed about the behavior of some of the devotees around the temple, and then I wanted to beat them up. But before doing that, I was thinking that I remember what Prabhupada and Srila Prabhu taught me, that before you do anything, you must ask your Guru. Then I approached Gurudev. Then you gave me 3 simple instructions: to be like a lotus flower, a dog, and a good soldier. And from that time up till now, I've been trying to think and meditate on those instructions. Those simple instructions that you've given me can take us a lifetime of devotee to think about. So you taught me through those instructions about humility, how to destroy pride, how to be a good soldier, and how to be a good devotee. So to all the devotees and those can see so-called some good quality in me, you must all know that the reason for that is just my Gurudev. Although sometimes sit there hiding himself, that is his humility. Thank you, Gurudev. Let me be able to always fulfill your desires, that you've given me such a huge task and mission. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare very much. Thank you. This is Mother Induleka. She's the mother of Kesava Priya Mataji, and one of my favorite disciples. We'll let you guess
Hare Krishna
why.
Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisance, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and yourself. We have assembled here to celebrate your appearance day. Gurudev, happy birthday. May Radha Govinda and Srila Prabhupada shower the richest blessings on you. We have My Guru Maharaj is very understanding, humble, and very helpful. I am very fortunate to be one of your disciples, and I have learned a lot just listening to your classes. I pray to Radha Govinda that we have your association for a very long time, because Gurudev, you have a lot to teach your disciples, and I have a lot still to learn. Thank you for showering your mercy on me, as I don't feel qualified to be blessed in such a way. Your humble servant Induleka. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I hope I can. I'm sorry I didn't tell you.
No. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Gurudev. Thank you for everything, and happy Vyasa Puja, and have many more. I'm more of an action person, but this is fine too. And I'm gonna try to be more. I want to serve you more, and be more personal. It takes time, but I'm gonna work on it this year very hard. I'm looking to all the Saturday classes. Very well. That's the first step, and then try to watch more videos online. That's the personal, for me to get more, better at serving, and then take it from there. Hare Krishna.
Happy birthday, Gurudev. Every year while assisting with your Vyasa Puja preparations, I always end up reflecting on the previous year. And 2024, in a lot of ways, was very challenging for me personally. But I think one of the biggest moments of anxiety I experienced in 2024 was when you not once but twice ended up in hospital. I remember when you were in Durban and we got news that you fell ill, not knowing what was happening and just praying and trusting that Krishna was looking after you. That was that was a lot of anxiety. And it caused me to reflect. And one realization I did have through this is that I do not take my Krishna consciousness as seriously as I should. And unfortunately, I take for granted that you reside in Cape Town. And whenever I want, I am able to visit you. I pick up the phone and I come and sit down with you for 2-3 hours and have your association at any time. Please accept my humble apologies that I am not a good disciple and I struggle with simple things like, reading Srila Prabhupada books on a daily basis. I thank you, Gurudev, that even though I am useless, you still shower your mercy upon me and you always encourage me to do better and improve. I pray that one day I come to the platform where I will, to a small degree, be able to do your teachings that you passed on from Srila Prabhupada some justice. Your humble servant,
Hare Krishna. Mother Keshwari Priya Prabhu Ki Jai. I just like to say that Mother Keshwari Priya, when she had newly come to Krishna consciousness, she had to deal with great trials, and it hasn't been an easy road. And she's taken care of much responsibility, and she was always an eager servant here at the temple, but her current responsibilities have limited that to a degree. But I'd like to just mention that when the path becomes clearer, that you'll be able to come and serve Sri Srinathai Mahavichandra more as you used to do. Hare Krishna. Sorry.
Hare Krishna, dear Gurudev. Thanks to your blessings, my family and I were finally able to set foot in Sridham Mayapur and be purified by touching the most sacred dust of Dham. It is only by your mercy and the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that we finally received this blessing. Gurudev, when you visited Mayapur last year, we really wanted to join you, but unfortunately, circumstances did not allow for that. However, I took your shelter and begged Mahaprabhu to please allow us to be at his birthplace, since I had longed for this darshan for too long. For the new year, we were in Sridham Mayapur. It was ecstatic. What better way to start the year than being in Dham? I had a deep realization throughout our stay there. I continuously felt that we were only granted access to Dham since our dear Gurudev had paved the way already for us. Thank you for your endless mercy, Gurudev. This past year, as you're aware, has been very challenging for me health-wise. Unfortunately, I had to stop several of my service. However, what kept me going strong amongst all the chaos was your wise words when you told me that it is an intense purification phase that I was going through. Please forgive me for not being able to serve you as much as I had desired to, but please know that deep in my heart, I'm forever indebted to you for your unlimited blessings. I pray to our dear Sri Srinitai Mahaprabhu to bless me to do better this year. I wish you a very happy 74th Vyasa Puja Gurudev and pray that you remain in good health. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
His Grace Medhāvī Guru ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and the Lord Self. My family and I would like to thank you for your kindness and humble manner in which you accept us and our fellow devotees. We are truly indebted to you for what we have learned and are still learning from you on an ongoing teaching. We hope and pray that you are granted a long and healthy life to share more of your knowledge and wisdom and experiences with us. We are truly grateful that we can call you any time of the day and thank you for your precious time that we spend with you and always welcoming us. We wish you many, many more long, healthy, and spiritual years of togetherness. Dr. Vyasa Puja Gurudev, Hare Krishna, yours in service, Jayanti and
Thank you. Mataji. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Under the watchful eye and instruction of temple management, I'm going to summarize. In one of Srila Prabhupada's letter in 1969, His Divine Grace says, "A little labor done for Krishna is never lost, but the greatest labor done for Maya is simply waste of time." So I think by the grace of Krishna, you are feeling nice now. Please try to work hard for Krishna, and your life will be glorious. When one reflects on your journey in Krishna consciousness and all the experiences that you happily share with us to encourage us in our spiritual journey, we should feel ashamed how you are still going strong at this age, and we cannot even find the energy to do even a fraction of what you do. You are truly blessed in your surrender to Krishna. Nothing comes in front of Srila Prabhupada for you. For me, you have taken Srila Prabhupada's mission and brought it to the forefront wherever you are and serving selflessly. You are the example of how not to waste time in Krishna consciousness. Thank you for your blessing, Gurudev. I'm also going to just read something from Bhakta Shanil from Durban. So please forgive me, I'm going to try and summarize something from him, but okay, that's fine.
Hey. That's great. Thank you, dear devotees, for the Diksha disciples. Thank you to Gokulesh Prabhu for that.
Shri Shri Natai Mahapachanda ki.
Jai. We now move on to the next part of our program, which should be the cake cutting ceremony. Bhoga offering, and that's shortly followed by the cake cutting.
If anyone has to leave, please see Mother Keshava Priya, and we have some prasadam packs already ready, and you can take if you cannot stay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Something special for you. This is the special envelope that I made myself.
Oh wow!
Printed it and everything myself on my computer.
Okay.
This is Lord Prabhupada. And here is a very personal message for you. Over here, I split your age with 7 on this side and 4 on that side. Please accept this one. The message is
Okay.
Jai.
Yeah, nice. Continue on in a few minutes. But many of you may not know that there's someone else who has a birthday on the same day. And because they are my disciple, then they forego having any celebration because it coincides with my appearance day. So we've decided to change that. And therefore we're going to ask Mother Keshava Priya to come up and cut her cake. I think they're going to put it here. There we go. Here we go. Okay. That's okay, you can use it. So she's, over a few years, Mother Keshava Priya has organized, or helped organize, if not organized, helped organize, our celebrations here. Not just, oh, you've got, okay. And therefore she's been denied the opportunity for getting a cake and a Hare Krishna to you. So today is changing that. And we want her to light the candle and blow it out and cut the cake. Now who shall feed her the cake? We have some alternatives. We have her wonderful mother. Is Artie? She didn't come. Artie. Artie here? Sorry. Can she help you or no?
I'll give it to you. You can have it up on my screen and then I'll...
No, we're going to stuff it down your throat. Okay. Mother Indralake is here already. So, all right. We need a plate. Whoops. So everyone, please repeat. Hare Krishna to you, Hare Krishna to you, Hare Krishna dear Krishna, Hare Krishna to you, Hare Krishna to you, Hare Krishna to you, Hare Krishna dear Krishna, Hare Krishna to you. Swachita Jai Krishna, Swachita Jai Krishna, come on, Swachita Jai Krishna, and so say all of us, so say all of us, so say all of us, Swachita Jai Krishna, and so say all of us. No, I already had my cake. So you take this one and feed her, and you take that one and feed her. And if all possible, try to get the whole thing in. Hare Krishna to you, Hare Krishna to you, Hare Krishna dear Krishna Priya, Hare Krishna to you. This one.
Oh, okay.
All of it. All of it.
The whole thing.
On the nose.
Yeah. Decorated.
Right. Get a picture of that. Okay. Hare Krishna. May you never take birth again. Thank you much, Mother Indralake. Thank you. So you can continue. I think we'll have RT now. Guru Puja. A quick one. And the cake was made by Mother Lalita and Vijamani Dasi. Decorated by Vijamani Dasi. And by how can I forget? Mother Devendri. Thank you very much. They put a lot of work into that decoration. That's 1,000 rand cake right there. Hare Krishna. You carry on, Prabhu.
The puja?
It's going to be Guru Puja. They put the flowers there.
Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Medhāvī Prabhu ki Jai Go
Hare Krishna devotee. So this is the last bit before Prashadam. So just a quick word of thanks. So we'd like to thank Medhāvī Prabhu and Mother Lalita, our guests of honor today, for making the time and gracing us with their presence. We'd also like to thank our guests, Sister Cecilia from the Interfaith Movement and everyone that attended. A big shout out and thank you to all the devotees that put this festival together. A lot of hard work. So thank you so much. A big thank you to all the devotees for turning out and making this event so memorable and special. And we hope to see everyone Krishna willing in a year's time for Medhāvī Prabhu's 75th year. And not to 80 and to 90. So,
Mahaprasade Govinde Namo Brahmane Vaishnave Prabhupada Bhattaranta Ustasamadhyaya Hare Radi Gatha Jaya Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Sri Medhāvī Gurudev ki, Jai Go Premanande.